in this world where we are trying to find our tribe, where we're really needing to be part of a community. And for Rob and I, this is something we strongly believe in, is to find a nice community, and it can be more than one, in order to understand who we are as humans and to help us all together grow and raise consciousness and grow our frequency, raise our frequency. But actually, the last couple of weeks, what I've certainly observed is that the spirit, you'll know this from from the last few years, the spiritual community, as we call it, let's say in the spiritual world of those teaching, in terms of this, of course, social media, maybe that's the problem, but we need social media in order to get the information. It seems to be such a distortion, and so it's distracting everybody into being such a separation of where we should be, not judging others, and so in our own peace, looking inward to see where, what is it I really want in terms of a fulfillment, not necessarily what I want on the outside, but how do I want to feel? How do I want to be? Who do I want to be with in terms of friends and everybody? But we're just constantly in this world of division and separation, and that feels that is so distorted and distracted. And certainly for me, I feel like this needs to change. This definitely needs to change. So this week's podcast comes to the close of this series 5, where we've given you a challenge in every week this series. So I'm actually going to give you the challenge now, and then we'll be discussing this in the podcast this week. Is, what do you think? How are you discerning if you've done all this work that we've given you? The first week we told you to work into heart space. Then we've told you about unlocking, anybody with a broken heart or a heart that doesn't want to open up, about opening up your heart. Then we've looked at a week where we're moving beyond the trauma, not leaving ourselves in that kind of victimhood of trauma. Now, that can be something that can create a lot of distraction and distortion in the wider community as well, in the wider collective. We've talked about why, our understanding, mine and Rob's understanding from our guides of why you would connect within rather than keep looking on the outside. And that's just my belief. You don't have to take it, but this helps, certainly has helped Rob and I to become more peaceful inside. We've talked about how, the things you do want to manifest that then gives you the fulfillment. Talked about holding onto the frequency. We're going to talk about that a bit more this week, holding onto that frequency of what you do want. And I'm sure people don't want to hold on to the frequency of seeing this world of polarity. There probably will be polarity for a long, long time, but holding on to this frequency of everything in victim, even in the collective, just feels like we need to do something about this and hold the vibration of what it is. So focus, meaning focus what it is you do want, instead of continually, well, helping people grow, helping those social media gurus, if you want to call it, grow, that just create the distortion and confusion for you, and that aren't helping each other. It just feels so bad with that. And I feel like I'm now getting into the judgment side of it, but
Hmm.
it just feels so it doesn't feel right. When we talk about intuition, and it feels so icky that we're just calling each other out of things. And there's things that I will watch somebody and I'll think, I don't know if I believe that, but it doesn't make me feel, oh, that person shouldn't be doing that. That's dangerous. What I get from the guides myself, from going inward, doing all my work that we've told you on the challenge, is just allow that person to be, that they have to just learn that lesson themselves. It's things that I will have maybe said things in the past and then gone, oops, I need to change that. And you've just changed it. And it's up to the people who watch it. They're totally responsible. Each one of us, each one of you is totally responsible to have your own beliefs, have your own discernment. So, without naming names, I just want to go through that. So what do you think, Rob, with everything?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you largely, and it boils down to authenticity, doesn't it?
Oh, yes,
And if
yes.
you are working from your own heart space, and if you have managed to access that neutral point that we've spoken
Mm.
about, where you look at things without judgment, not easy,
No, it
not to
isn't.
judge, really not easy,
Not
but
easy for
possible.
humans.
Yeah. Then you can filter out, I think, the noise.
Mm. Mm.
And many of us, when we start this journey, are looking for answers.
We are.
Something isn't
Yeah.
whole in our lives, so we go searching what could possibly make it whole. And where do we look these days? We look on social media because it's there and it's free and everybody has access.
Yeah.
And in the history of us as people, that's quite new. So it's an
Yeah.
amazing tool. We had a comment once saying, well, why do you put this out on social media if you're criticizing social media? I'm not criticizing social media as
Per se.
a means of communication. I'm criticizing elements of social media that don't filter,
Yeah. And creates
perhaps is
distraction.
and creates distraction. So I am a hand up, guilty as charged. I
Hmm.
have absolutely gone down dreadful rabbit holes, searching for answers and not really finding any. Finding though that I'm then at war with myself
You
because
get
I
so
don't know what's true
confused.
anymore. I don't know what I
Yes.
believe. But if I do that now, at this later stage of my progress, from that neutral, calm, heart-centered place, I can within seconds go, this is not for me,
Mm. Yeah.
and move on. And
Yeah.
that's absolutely fine. It might be for someone else the right
Yeah.
thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's as we've said, you cannot judge at any point in this. You just accept, shrug your shoulders, and move on. Not for you. Something else is for you, and something else for you is generally what you already know and are not letting out.
Mm. Mm.
And the more you spend time in your heart center, and the more you explore the fractals of yourself that are out there, and there's this incredible multiple versions of yourself that are there waiting to communicate and explore and share and join together and be strong, the less you look for external sources,
Mm.
because
Mm.
these are parts of you.
All of it's part
There
of
are
you. Mm.
externals. Obviously, we have a whole range of guides that are not
Yeah.
necessarily fractals of ourselves, and Series 6 coming soon. A lot more on that, which will be, I think, quite eye-opening for people.
Yeah. Rob and I love getting
Yeah.
into that work. That is
We
our
we
favourite.
we do rather. A lot of people will be slightly nonplussed by it, but that's okay.
And that's
That's
fine.
cool. It's fun.
Absolutely fine. Yeah.
It's fun.
Live and let live.
Yeah. But it's just really it is so simple for me, and that is get into your heart center, don't hold judgment, i.e., keep the neutral space, and just trust yourself. Trust your own authenticity to do this work.
Mm.
And then you will filter.
And that makes you feel better as well. When it's, as I say, you can get, like Rob, I've just been in the last few weeks been down rabbit holes of what is it people are believing? The people out there been watching YouTube videos, etc. What are people believing and why they're doing that? And all you're getting is I believe in this, but that other person's is believing in something else, and that's wrong. So I'm right and they're
Yeah.
wrong. And how can we ever judge who's right and wrong? I think you're right and wrong at the exact time you need to be there. And and again, somebody said we're not here to learn lessons. Well, it's not about the karmic lessons, but it's about lessons of us, that a soul, let's say, will give us as humans. It's the game, let's say, that we're playing. And again, somebody will argue at that, but if you don't think of it as I mean, it's very real in the way of how we feel. But if you don't think of it too much as a game, how are you
Hmm.
going to play the controls to change it? If it's not a game, how is it that you're going to be able to shift through level one, level two, etc. If you think of it like that, because the guys are always saying, have fun. Now
Hmm.
we know there are going to be times, always going to be times when we're going to go through some kind of trauma. But it's what we're talking about here is to be able to move through trauma afterwards. And we're all going to be doing it in different ways. And there isn't, does that feel like there's just one way of doing it and that you have to judge somebody by the way, if they've got over it pretty quickly? And they might have got over it pretty quickly because as a multidimensional self, they've got many aspects to help them overcome that trauma. It might have been some galactic that's gone through the same trauma. Sometimes that's what happens. We talk about soul contracts going moving through that trauma. Again, some people might not agree with it. That's absolutely fine,
Mhm.
but that's what I am getting from my guys. That's what I've seen. That's what I've observed about soul contracts. And it's this beauty that, the trauma could come from something, something else. And if you can work through that and understand it's not something that the lesson is you don't have to relive it over and over again for the next 20 years. Unfortunately, that's what humans are doing. But that's why we did this challenge to help you understand. And it's like the first part, this challenge was giving you the foundational work to start discerning and start helping you to become the neutral observer so that when you do want to connect with guides, as we would say, connect telepathically with guides, that you already the neutral observer, so you can tell whether something feels good or that intuitive feels icky. And definitely looking around at people judging other people and talking, just literally splitting the community doesn't, to me, that feels icky. Do you
Yeah.
think, Rob?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every religion teaches us
Yeah.
not to judge and has
Mm.
accordingly failed on that score.
Yes. Yeah.
And now here we are as a spiritual community doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So have we
This
not
is
learnt a
it.
lesson,
Yeah, that kind of lesson. Yeah. Yeah.
really? And yet
Remain
you and I
human.
will sit off camera and we'll have a gossip
Yeah.
about something we've watched and seen and that we think is just really not on or not in line with
Mm.
our thinking. But we don't do it with any malice. It's more a discussion about what do you think about that and what can we take from that and is that not for us?
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
wrong? We're not judging them at all. And if other people want to watch those, then great, you
It's
go for it.
fine. Mm.
Absolutely.
Mm.
You can watch us too. Thanks.
Yes. Yeah, we'll never be here looking at, talking about, certain predictions as such.
Yeah.
Last week we talked about things because the only prediction we know is it will be, you don't even need to be psychic to do this. You don't even need to be intuitive. That things will feel chaotic because it's already started anyway,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's not a prediction. It just, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
The key that we will say to this is how are you reacting or are you not reacting, which is, feels far more,
Yeah.
or you just reacting in a calm way, feels far more a good, feels good and doesn't feel as icky as focusing in on that resonance field and creating a wider resonance field of the thing that feels wrong, the
Mm.
thing that doesn't feel right at all and will keep us in kind of like a victim mode. And
Yeah.
yes, so by any means, what I'm not saying here is be so neutral that you're sitting on a fence,
Yeah.
not doing anything in the world. But there will be, all of us have this unique thing to come and do, a unique mission, if you like. A lot of it is missions that we all, as unique individuals, can bring together as a community, and it will all lift everything. The activations will help one another. You'll be activating each other, but we're not doing that as much at the minute because we're so diverse, and that then feels the distortion that we're not coming together as a full community.
Yeah.
But also, I'm not saying sit here and do nothing, but it's about, if you want, say the NHS, just for instance, needs to change, it feels a lot more that you can change it from being within the NHS. So there'll be these wonderful doctors and nurses that could potentially be those ones, those unique souls that have the ability to actually change things if you're not happy with what you're doing. Me sat here, I worked in the NHS myself, saw lots of bullying, saw all sorts of things. But now I'm not in that field. I don't know what goes on, so I can't judge for anything. So again, sometimes you have to sort of be in the fire to be able to work through it and come out of it. Myself and Rob, we do our bit. We help souls to, I definitely will help souls that are needing help. Somebody, their guide will ask me to help souls to pass over who've, become a bit traumatized and don't know where they are. That's my bit to do something. So I don't have to sit and talk about it. And not many people will know that because we're not seeing it in because it's in different realms. Um, But there'll be somebody else, somebody, a firefighter might want to change, how the fire system works. All of this, if to change politicians and politics, might be that that what that one or couple of politicians who are equally here. It might not be that they're here as a starseed mission, how with a starseed mission or how we'd understand it like that. That might be here just to help. But those people, what we need to understand is they will need support and backup of other people to do that, rather than what happens a lot now is people tend to do it and feel on their own. People don't believe them and feel on their own. That feels quite icky as well to me. And this is what I would personally see as looking into New Earth, is that we're helping each other, rather than just, well, I don't believe what they're doing there, I don't believe what they're doing there, instead of really discerning. When I work inward and work with my guides, that is what I'm seeing, that there's not enough coming together with communities. And it's not about the like-minded communities. It's understanding if we want to change a system, if we want to change, let's call it the matrix, as we're coming into, we're going to be doing that in the next series a little bit more than we have done. Um, it's up to us, rather than the backseat. What we can't do is be those, like the backseat drivers, or this, just sit on your sofa changing the world and not actually doing anything, but you're
Mm.
changing the world by focusing on the bad, and you're just creating more bad, instead of what we all need to do instead is, oh, how can we change this? Shift the reality, shift the focus into, okay, with guides, with intuition, what can I do to help shift? And it's something, if I said physical, it's not always about plowing money into things. It's what can I do to really hone in on, what's my unique ability to help the collective, help everybody else to move forward to a new earth. And I just think that's the bit that feels missing, is that there's still that kind of separation between us all, and we're not accepting other people, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
It does. But the good news, I think, Julie, is that that's where we're going to go with this podcast.
Yes,
We're
yeah,
going to head into talking about the collective
yeah,
and how
absolutely.
you work within the collective and how you
Mm,
find your collective and what
mm,
the collective can do, because that's where the real strength is. But you
mm.
need to sort yourself out first,
Yes, you need to,
which is
yeah,
why we've gone in this order, I
clear,
think.
clear yourself. Yeah.
So hopefully that if you stay with us through this podcast, you'll start to realize then that you've achieved so much for yourself. Now, how do we apply it? How do we connect to others and use it? How do we share? And
Mm.
it is a shared thing. It's not a one way. We don't just
Yes,
give
yeah,
it now. We give it and then we receive, and it just grows. So the exciting work really is to come.
it is. Absolutely is.
Absolutely. And all humanity's game for it. Not everybody's going to ascend with us.
Yeah,
I've got to the point, Julie, where I don't like the word ascend
I
anymore.
hate it.
I can't
It doesn't
think of
mean
a new
anything.
one.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like
it's,
the old way of new age and vibrations and things. Like, I need new terminology.
yeah.
That's just me. But I hope people know what I mean when I say ascend.
Mm,
Yeah, we aren't all
mm.
going to sort of,
Go,
transfigure into light
yeah.
and just float
Get
upwards to
get off
heaven.
on the other train
Yeah,
to a
yeah,
new, get off on
absolutely.
the other earth. It doesn't, it's just a vibration.
No,
Yeah.
indeed. And if we're
Yeah.
utterly practical, the Earth has shifted on its pole, the Earth's
Yes.
vibration has changed, and we are just catching up
Yes.
in
Yes.
that practical sense of what this
Mm,
means.
mm,
But it is changing our spirituality a lot,
mm.
and
Yeah.
hopefully bringing us to the point where humanity has a common spirituality, and we don't fragment as we fragment into bits of country all over the world and build
Yes.
borders and passport
Yes.
controls and have different religions in each place and go to war
Mm,
with each other for no reason at all.
mm,
We
mm.
are transcending that and coming to a place where
Yeah.
the globe, this wonderful place that we live, is looked after, is healthy, and that we are healthy and look after each other
Mm,
and it. That's all we want to
mm.
do, is
Yeah.
get to that better place where life is more beautiful and more abundant and more available,
Mm,
and all the nonsense we've lived with for the past millennia fade.
yeah. Yeah. And that's all we need to
Yeah.
work on. It's not just
Yeah.
about thinking the positive. The question, ask the question, right? I'm going to focus. This is what I want. Right. What can I do to change that? If it's something internally in your own life that will ripple out to the collective, or is it something that will help change completely
Yeah.
humanity? What is it I can do? What can I do to put my bit, my bit in? Even silly things like I will, there's Rob and I with, trying to build up our podcasts and, on YouTube and all the other and Spotify, etc. And if I see somebody else, another therapist, and I feel definitely that they're along the same lines, and just because of what I believe in, I will subscribe. I will like a few of
Yeah.
their things just to help them with the algorithm to help them be heard as well, so that we're all sharing the message that I personally believe in. And that's whatever that takes nothing at all, or a nice
Yeah.
comment to somebody. It takes nothing. It's a few seconds of really making good use of the social media. Let's if I don't like social media because it's distracting, let me stop all the distractions myself. That's up to me to not go watching all
Yeah.
the thousands of I don't know, people hugging dogs, which is lovely. I like that sometimes, absolutely fantastic. But I need to be doing something myself with my own pets, etc. So really, it is, make sure you've done all the work so you can discern for yourself, so that we're here just to hone in on making a difference rather than keep complaining about whatever and creating blame, blame factor, but blame whatever frequency of this isn't right and that isn't right, because that is just creating more of that. If you understand, because again, if you've worked with, if you've heard what we say, the more, if you get, you get what you focus on. There's no two ways of that. I mean, we know when two people can stand in the same place, if you're thinking about all the negative sides, that's what you'll see even outside of you. But you thinking more along, what can I do? More the positive side of how can this be changed? What can I do? You will see different things. You'll see different things and see a different perspective is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So this is what you need to do for yourself, completely do the work, go within, heart work, clear the way, even nutrition we've said about just help yourself clear the way for you to go, what is it I believe in, what are my behaviors? How can I help my family? How can I help humanity? What is it I can help humanity to create that shift that we're looking to get, to bring, if we say bring peace to all, it's that
Mm.
internal peace. It does not mean what Rob and I said is it's fantastic to have all that diverse, unique individualness where if you don't believe in something somebody else says, or somebody doesn't believe in what we say, what a fantastic thing to have that debate so that it opens you up and you learn more lessons. For me as a human, I love learning more and more about how a human works, about the DNA. So I'd love more science, more scientists to not just say the spiritual world is, mumbo jumbo, but to understand how we're all coming together. That's how I would want to see the world, and that's how I want to focus on and keep it. So there we go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would really love people who followed us through the series to perhaps just go back over it.
Yeah.
You can fast forward if you want. We won't tell anybody. But just catch up on it. Make sure you haven't missed anything.
Mm,
Do some of the exercises perhaps and just get some peace in yourself that you're on board with the way we're thinking. And then come along with us next week when we start talking about the collective and what to
yeah.
do with all this strength and love and knowledge and wisdom, whatever you want to call it,
Mm,
because it's time to use it.
yeah. Lovely. Yeah. And as always, myself and Rob are here. We both work one-to-one with clients and we are looking to run a course. I also am just about to start, and it's all ready to start a membership. So please, a membership that will work on the foundations, but that's in the background. The membership and everything is so for those people who are wanting to go to next level to find out which planet they're from, where else they're
Yeah.
from, find out more about the multidimensional self so they can start to integrate whoever they are to help you understand your individualness and where your strengths and your power is. For those of you who might be slightly confused, especially those who want to heal, is something we seem to be
Yeah.
able to activate in others. So please, let us know, come and contact us, and we'll be there and we can arrange one-to-one sessions, or as I say, we'll put on a course if it's needed, if
Yep.
people are asking for it. And more than that, we can do the membership. Lovely. So, bye for this week and for this series. So,
Yep.
we look forward to talking about the lovely new series about all the collective and all our multidimensional cells. So,
Super.
bye for this week.
Bye now.